What is up guys, Simba here and welcome to another F122 video, and today we're going to be doing a last question mark challenge around Austria since it's the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend. And I thought about doing this in the Red Bull, but we're going to go in the Ferrari today with Formula 1's newest race winner, Carlos Sainz. A great win for him, he absolutely deserved it. Yeah, it was just a great win, a great race as well. But yeah, we're going to go with Carlos Sainz here today. And as you can see also, we're sorting out some settings. We're going to go on 103 AI with strict corner coding. So it's going to be quite a challenge. And we're going to do a sprint race as well. So let's get into the sprint race of the Austrian Grand Prix.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint.
So, there you go, that's Alex Jakes on commentary. I'm glad he's in the game. He's absolutely brilliant in real life. Go check him out if you haven't already. As here we are for the sprint race of the Austrian Grand Prix. We're going to start from the back and see if we can get as high as we can for the race.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Russell, Sir Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Bottas, Tsunoda and Lando Norris, Magnussen, Gasly, Mick Schumacher and Vettel, Ricciardo, Joe, Alex Albon and Lance Stroll, Latifi and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid.
So here we are then, about to start the sprint race for the Austrian Grand Prix. The top 8 will score points in this race, so we're going to try and get to the top 8 as soon as we can in a 12-lap sprint race. We're all going to be on the medium tyres as we are sorting out the formation lap, as we're doing a few burnouts to make sure we get some heat into the tyres. And let's see if we get the parking right.
Okay, incredible park.
So we managed to nail the parking down for the grid as we're getting ready to start the sprint race in the Austrian Grand Prix. How far can we go? We're going to find out as the lights go out. And we are underway for the sprint in Austria. We get immediately stopped by Lance Stroll, making some weird movements down the straight towards turn 1. We go round the outside of him anyway, proving that he's also meh in the game. I just don't like Lance Stroll, alright, as we're also closing up on the Williams of Alex Albon, who has been given a new upgrade from Silverstone. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to use it in real life as we go round the outside at turn 3. In F1 2021, the outside seemed to work, and it looks like it's the same for this game as well, as we've gone round the outside of Albon, and we get a really good run on Sebastian Vettel as we go down the inside of him through turn 4. And there you go, on the first lap we have gained 4 places and we have to keep moving. But hang on, Vettel's coming back at us here. He's going to go down the inside in a turn 6 and we make a little bit of contact with the German and we get some underbody damage, which is a bit unfortunate. As we go through the end of the lap, Daniel Ricciardo makes some contact with Zhou Guanyu, and all I have to say about Zhou Guanyu is thank God he's okay after that massive crash. But, yeah, I'm so glad that F1 safety's improved as Daniel Ricciardo proving that he is definitely still one of the last of the late breakers there through turn 1. He just sends it up the inside. And we are down to P16, but we're going to try and take his P15 away from the Australian as we go round the outside again. Going into turn 3, he makes contact with us. The AI. This is on 103, by the way. It's not the hardest AI, as I'm still trying to get used to this game, but they're still pretty aggressive, as you can see. There's 3 cars separated by absolutely nothing as Kevin Magnussen makes his way into the pit ahead of his teammate Mick Schumacher, and that's held up the German as well. So here we go. We've got a good run on the Haas drivers. We go into turn 1. He makes an absolute hash of it, making it ridiculously easy to pass him. And we are up into P12 as we get a very silly warning for track limits on the 3rd lap. DRS has been enabled as well, so this should help us make overtakes a lot quicker through this race as we're catching up to the Alfa Romeo driver of Zhou Guanyu, who's been very impressive in his rookie season, but we're going to send him down further into the midfield here As we go into turn 1, we do the same thing to Mick we did to Schumacher. And it seems that the AI seem quite weak through turn 1, and we exploit that to our advantage. We get past the Chinese driver and we're up into P11 after just 4 laps of this race. I mean, the car performance shows that the Ferrari has the fastest car. I'm pretty sure that'll be patched soon, but I actually don't mind the car performances right now. I think it looks pretty good. But we're going to go and try and pass the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly round the outside at turn 3. And look at the traction we're going to get out of that corner as we use the overtake and the DRS to our advantage. Side by side, not anymore. We use the Ferrari power unit to power through past the Frenchman, past Gasly, up into P10. And we're not going to get points if we stay in P10, so we skip 2 laps later, making this as action-packed as possible as it is a sprint race. We're catching up to Bottas, Norris and Tsunoda in front of us, who is in the front of this train. We do a 1 minute 8.1 as we move into the final 4 laps of this race, as we're looking to get a good run. Bottas gets a little bit out of shape through turn 1, and now we're going to just use the overtake and the DRS to go through, as Norris is looking to go after Tsunoda here, going into turn 3. He goes round the outside of the other time. There's a bit of contact there as Ocon is out of the race, as Norris is still side by side with Tsunoda. It is absolutely brilliant to see AI fighting each other like this for 2 points in this sprint race. They're still side by side. Tsunoda looks like he might hang on to the position, but Norris is still fighting back. Here's the McLaren driver down the inside. There's even more contact between them, and Norris muscles through. No, he doesn't. Tsunoda is still there, and round the outside goes Tsunoda, and he hangs on to P7. Absolutely brilliant racing there from the Japanese driver. Norris comes back at him at turn 9, and you don't see many overtakes there as we've got yellow flags, and I think that is for Esteban Ocon. Yes, it is, as Tsunoda hangs on to P7, and we're looking to get into the points paying positions in these sprint races, as again we use the switchback at turn 1. Norris gets out of shape and we get past our former teammate, and we're up into 8th place in this race. And now I think the maximum is going to be P7, is Alonso is way too far ahead, as we skip to the end of lap 10 with that brilliant battle between Tsunoda and Norris. We have ended up squeezing past the McLaren driver, taking advantage of our former teammate, fighting so hard with the AlphaTauris. We move on to the penultimate lap of this race. P7 seems to be the maximum result, so that's where we're going to be starting for the race if we can overtake Tsunoda, who has proven to be quite hard to overtake, but I think we should find it a little bit easier since we are in the Ferrari car. As we got DRS, we make him go defensive as we look to get a switchback through turn 3, as I don't think it's really worked, but I think it's a decent run, but Tsunoda got a decent run as well. But we're using the overtake, we're using the DRS to take advantage, and here we go, round the outside of the turn 4, but again Tsunoda hangs on the inside line, but we surely get better traction going out of that corner and up through turn 5 and through turn 6. We have the inside line, we brake later, and we are up into P7. Nicely done, and I think that's where we're going to be finishing. Hang on, we've got yellow flags, and I can tell you now, that is for George Russell. So he didn't score points in Silverstone over that massive crash, and he's not going to score points here either. So we've been promoted to P6 as Verstappen wins the sprint race and scores 8 points from pole position, and we're going to come home and finish in P6 in a very action-packed sprint race. And now that's where we're going to be starting for the race. So let's get into the main event of the weekend.
Welcome to Spielberg for another exciting Formula One race. This circuit is renowned for its backdrop, surrounded by natural beauty, and it certainly is an idyllic destination for the Austrian Grand Prix.
So here we are for the actual race around Austria. It's going to be wet to dry conditions. We're going to start off in the wet, which is I'm not looking forward to, because at the time of recording, I haven't done much wet running in this game, so I'm going to be quite shocking. But we're going to take some fuel out of the car and try and go as far as we can on the intermediate tyres until it dries up eventually. And we're going to make some changes to the front wing as well, up that by 3 clicks, so we can have a bit more front downforce. But that's the change we're going to make as we move into the race. And here we go then, P6 alongside Fernando Alonso Well, let's see what we can do in the race as we are underway for the Austrian Grand Prix, and it's a very, very good start from us as we're short shifting through the gears. We get past the Alpine, we get past Hamilton, no we don't, as he sends it up the inside, going into turn 1. We keep our car on the outside line as we look to get better traction through the straight, but Hamilton looks like he's edged away from us a little bit. But we're going to use the ERS, we're going to use the overtake once again to get down the inside. We're going to send it down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, and as we do so, there's yellow flags behind us for a massive crash in the minimap. You can see on the minimap, and there you go, Albon's out of the race. I can't remember who else was out of the race, but that has triggered a safety car on the opening lap, so the race has been immediately neutralised, and we're up into P4 behind our teammate Charles Leclerc, who is kind of struggling to match the pace of the Red Bulls. Hopefully I don't jinx anyone in this race, but knowing the nature of these videos, I probably might, as we've got the safety car ending at the end of this lap. And here we go, we're going to get going again. We've kind of been caught napping a little bit by the top 3. It's a 1-2 for Red Bull right now as we're underway again in Austria, currently P4 as we've gained 2 places. I think Fernando Alonso has gone a long way backwards as Norris is up into P6 now. But here we go then, we get a good run out of turn 1, and we could pass our teammate Charles Leclerc, who has been very unlucky in the last, 5 races without a podium. It's very unfortunate for him, but we're going to try and have a little look at him down the inside, but we think better of it. You know, it's lap 4, it's a long race, as I think we might have immediately regretted that decision as we go wide through turn 4. As you can see, the driving isn't great. I haven't done much wet running. I have no idea what that transition is as Hamilton goes down the inside. We're trying to give him room as there's a little bit of contact with the Mercedes driver. He gets through, but he goes wide through the next corner. We slip back through, and we're still hanging on to P4. But unfortunately for us, Leclerc, Perez and Verstappen have all ran off as, yep, there you go. You can tell I'm struggling in these conditions as I go wide turn 9, as Verstappen sets a 15.2, I set an 18.4. You can tell the pace ain't there. But going to lap 6, the struggles continue for us as we come through at turn 8. You see we lose the rear twice through the corners as we were picking up pace and we were 2 seconds ahead of Hamilton, but now we're struggling as again we make a hash of the penultimate corner. It's just something I'm going to have to learn in the coming months of this game. Still trying to get used to it. As we skip to lap 10, Mark Priestley, the new engineer, I actually like him. He's actually given us a strategy change to go to lap 20 on the intermediate tyres, but you guys can clearly see it has stopped raining, and I'm feeling that we can try and gain time on the top 3 through an undercut. So at the end of lap 11, the next lap, I'm pretty sure it's time for dry tyres. I don't really understand. I'm yet to fully grasp the crossover period on this game, so I'm thinking this is the right time to pit. So we're going to take our shot here, try an undercut, and try and gain some time on the top 3 as, yeah, we get a nice time on the pit lane. We nail that turn in, and we're going to go onto the soft tyre because that will give us more grip in these changeable conditions during the crossover point. I think I forgot to make adjustments to the front wing as well, and as we come out of the pits, there you go, I realised that we're still on 12-15 wings as Gasly's overtaken us, but we're going to try and come back at him on cold soft tyres round the outside, and I think we managed to get it done again. Turn 3 on the outside line seems to be OP on this game as well, like F1 2021. As we've got DRS, we've got overtake now. DRS has been enabled, so it's definitely drying up as Gasly goes down our inside. There is a bit of contact, and look at the traction he gets out of the corner. He gets through. We haven't even overtaken Gasly, so maybe we might have timed this horribly wrong as Sergio Perez goes 1 extra lap along with my teammate Verstappen and Hamilton to pit for the dry tyres. So I think Perez might have actually made the right choice here because we're struggling as these guys are going to pit for the dry tyres, so we're going to be ahead of them by quite some distance. As we come around the last corner, it gets worse for us. We couldn't overtake Gasly on our up lap. Our up lap was pretty bad as we sat at 31.2, and this is something that annoys me quite a lot. As you can see, Hamilton is out ahead of us, and we get a warning for track limits. So we're pretty frustrated. We're going to push on anyway as we set the fastest lap, which is a bright side to this, but the bad news is it gets worse for us, as Perez is on hard tyres and he's way ahead of us, and he pitted a lap later than Hamilton, Leclerc and Verstappen, and naturally we just couldn't keep up with the race pace. I'm still learning this track, and I don't think the setup has helped. Not making those wing adjustments might not have helped either, as I'm still trying to learn this track. And as you can see, it's literally showing as we go wide at turn 9. We've made a hash of that corner already, and we get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. So realistically at this point, the soft tyre isn't actually a good tyre around here. Around now, on lap 20, nothing much is happening. We're just trying to maintain the gap. As Lewis Hamilton comes into the pits, we're going to stay out for one more lap and pit for a set of mediums, because the soft, unlike F1 2021, you can't really drag these tyres. I completely forgot about it, as the tyre wear is a little bit more abrasive on this year's game. You can still make certain strategies work, as you'll see in another video. But yeah, we wanted to pit, but unfortunately, Leclerc has pitted on the lap we wanted to pit. So we're forced to do one more lap on these tyres, and we've got the pole sitter, the race leader Verstappen, behind us as we get out of turn 1. And as you can see, we cut to a nice replay camera, and Verstappen just breezes past. I mean, what am I supposed to do? My tyres are gone at this point, and I pitted on lap 11. So, yeah, the soft tyres are really not that good around Austria anymore. They're not really a race tyre you want to be on. Verstappen might have made the right choice going on to the mediums. As we skip to lap 22 now, we're going to box for the mediums and go to the end of the race and probably just cruise around in P5, because that's realistically where we're going to finish. Especially with the fact that we had to pit a lap extra, go around a lap extra, which has prevented us from actually gaining any time on Hamilton. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. It's a bit annoying, but yeah, not much is happening this race. We don't really seem to have the pace against the AI. I think this might be one of their strong tracks. I have no idea. As, yeah, we should be alright in P5 to get to the end of the races. We're way ahead of Tsunoda, and we've spun. We've actually spun. For God's sake. This race couldn't get any worse. But we've ended up spinning immediately on our out lap, which is phenomenal. And by the time we get our tyres warmed up, Tsunoda has passed us on lap 24. We're going to try and repass the AlphaTauri. Using DRS, using overtake, well, not using too much anyway, as we're making go defensive just like we did in the sprint race. But we're going to try and get a switch back again, and this time it was actually not too bad. But Tsunoda again gets a strong run, and again we're going to have to use DRS, but this time we're going to go on the inside line. Going into turn 4, there's a little bit of contact there on the inside line, but we get through and we're up into P5 once again. And George Russell has also overtaken the AlphaTauri as we get our 4th warning of the race on lap 28. We're trying to keep pushing because we can still finish 5th, and if we can keep Russell outside of 3 seconds. And lap 29, we do the same mistake. That's a 5th warning, and we might not even finish in the top 6 if we carry on. But lap 35, we get the gap out to just over 3 seconds, and we lap Albon, and we have a little bit of an altercation with the Williams as he goes down the inside through turn 3. And I think I might have turned into him, but that's kind of ruined any chance of getting a top 5. But meanwhile, this man, Max Verstappen, has absolutely crushed the opposition once again in the Red Bull ring as he wins the Austrian Grand Prix. It's going to be a 1-2 for Red Bull. No, it's not. He wins the race. Leclerc's going to finish 2nd, his first podium in about 500 years. Perez 3rd, Hamilton 4th. We're going to finish 5th on the road, but we're going to get demoted to P6. It was a pretty long race, and the driving wasn't really up to my best standards, I'm not going to lie. But there you go, P6 in the race. We went from last to P6, so that's not bad.
Then, after a quality performance, Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They've performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone on the team.
So there you go, Verstappen wins the race ahead of Leclerc and his teammate Sergio Perez. Let me know if you want me to make this into a series with each race weekend. I could try and do that for you guys. If you want me to, let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're trying to get to 100 subs. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care, and I'll see you later.